So this is a fork of Recombinator that I'm releasing today. If you haven't looked at the video for Recombinator, I'm not going to cover a lot of the stuff going on here. I'm just going to talk about the difference between this patch and that one. So if you want the full picture, you might need to watch both. But if you've already seen that video, then we'll just jump right into the difference, which is located right here. Recombinator uses a probability mixer to create a set of possibilities that the replace loopers in this little looping delay thing draw from. Choose probabilistically. So you've got a bunch of different variations, and it grabs one when the probability comes up that there should be something replaced in the loop. Here we have a 2x5 grid of buttons, and at the top we have pitches that are defined for each of the buttons below, which can be forward or reverse. Now, right now we're in live mode, and live mode means that whenever I press one of these buttons, it's automatically taken up. The replace signal path is given priority, and the button will cause the loopers to do the thing that they're doing. We can still use this probabilistically. And this is sort of like a little bit of this, little bit of that approach. Let me restore the loop, but what I'll say about the probability here is that you define it instead of it being, or I'm sorry, when the replace signal path is chosen by probability, you'll be defining what is played based on these buttons. So you can still sort of guide it in conjunction with a more generative probabilistic approach. And you can use both of them. You could have a probability setting for the replace signal path while the live mode is going on. So sometimes you might release your fingers, and it might still do something probabilistically. So you can play between this sort of controlled and more chaotic environment in this patch if you want to. The thing is, it'll just keep using which one of these forward or reverse pitches that you've selected until you select a different one. So I'm going to restore the loop using the replace function, which again, we can do either from this button right here or from the right stomp switch. I'll use the stomp switch. And now I'm going to bring in some probability for the replace head. So, we can see how even though it's grabbing probabilistically, we still have control over what it grabs. So this came out of me playing with the Recombinator patch and finding myself coming up with situations where I really wanted to lean into replacing something. And it was when I was trying to more actively use these stomp switches, which control, replace, and restore probabilities, I wanted to have a little bit more guidance in what was going on. So with this approach, you totally can do that, especially if it's in live mode and you turn the probability down to 0 for the replacement. Then it's just you deciding what happens next. There's this live button, which I've mentioned, and then there is a sync direction button. So when this is turned off, then on one side of either of these buttons, but it'll switch depending on which button you press. One side will play forward and the other side will play reverse. And then if you play the reverse pad for that, one side will play backwards and the other one, I don't remember which one of my hands was doing which, but they'll switch sides, which you can, use to have that sort of ping pong from different sides or correct things. So I just thought this was, a way to sort of take the idea of Recombinator, and I really like sometimes that sort of leaving it to chance approach. So I think, that patch has its own sort of magic because it does come up with stuff that I wouldn't come up with if I was being more, if I had more volition in the creation of what happened. But this gives you that option to have more volition. And I think that allows you to really build stuff, and you can still introduce sort of probability elements to it. You can use all of the other functions in the patch. Those all remain. The only part that's really changed is how the patch chooses what variations in speed, pitch, and playback direction occur when a replace command occurs. So I'm going to restore this one last time and sort of mess around with it and do some stuff, and then I'll stop the recording and we'll be done for the day. But yeah, if you want a full picture on what all is going on here, there are the patch notes and the video for Recombinator that I'll direct you toward. But I think this is a cool little fork that still plays in the same terrain. I should mention I'm using a bit of reverb from a universal audio golden reverberator. Full disclosure, that's where some of the sound is coming from. And I may add some more sounds into this little clip. But yeah, that's Recombinatrix for those of you who want a little bit more discipline and control in your life. So if you like it, please like it on Patch Storage. Yeah, have a good day. I'm gonna jam out on this a little bit more. Let's change the size of the buffer.